Good morning, campers, and welcome to the stunning Cwm y Gawr in the Carnarvon area of Snowdonia National Park. I'm sure you'd agree, it is quite the setting. I must say I've had a fantastic night in that tent there, and I thought because of that, before heading back to the car and back to the southeast, I'd talk you through my winter kit list, just to show you sort of what it takes to enjoy a pretty comfortable night in these sorts of conditions. Now, a bit of a disclaimer before we actually go any further. I'll say that I am by no means an expert. And in fact, actually, this is only my second snowy camp. But I did a lot of research before even doing my first one. And I've made sure that I thought carefully about all of the equipment that I've bought. So without further ado, let's crack on and I'll talk you through it. So here we go. Good place to start. Home for the night. There's no mistaking which model this tent is. It's the OX Jackal 2. And I have actually done another review on this, and I'll put the link to that below this one. But it has been a tremendous tent. It's the only tent I own, and I've used it in all sorts of conditions. I've used it in the rain, I've used it in driving snow now, and I've used it in pretty windy conditions as well, and it's rock solid. I'm yet to use this in gale force winds, but I have read other reviews, people saying that actually even then, it's a really, really good tent. So if you're planning to do winter camping and camping in all sorts of conditions, I reckon this is a really, really good place to start. And it's a nice, easy tent to pitch as well. You can't get to any of these amazing places like where I am now without having a decent backpack to carry all your gear. And this one actually has never set a foot wrong. It's the Vango Sherpa 80 litre backpack. Now, I know there'll be some of you sort of die-hard campers out there that are used to carrying way less than that. And yeah, if you're a smaller person, you might find this bigger pack quite hard to carry. But yeah, I'm just over 6 foot and it serves me tremendously. It's got loads of space. And yeah, in the winter, you're generally carrying more gear anyway. So the bigger the pack, in my opinion, the better it's likely to be. It does come with a waterproof cover, loads of little pockets to sort of separate your gear as well to make it easy to get to. Well, I have done another video actually on this walking pole that I picked up. In fact, actually I own 2 of them, but I've just bought one on this trip. Picked these up actually just well over a year ago. And yeah, I'm a massive sort of advocate of using walking poles. I always thought they were for the older hiker, shall we say, with sort of arthritic joints. But I'm finding with all this climbing and especially descending, even for me, who's still sort of the right side of 40, walking poles are really, really good. And with conditions like we've got today with the snow, they really help you even more, sort of push through the snow, and with the dodgy descents as well. So well worth bringing. Other than your shelter, I thought I'd move on to probably your most important piece of kit other than that, which of course is your sleep system. You know, if you get this wrong, as I've discovered before, you're going to be in for a really uncomfortable night and you're not likely to sleep at all well. And in fact, instead of enjoying the trip, you'll just be longing for the morning to arrive. So as you can see, I've actually bought, on this camp, I have 2 sleeping mats. And there's a good reason for this. The main one is because, you know, this one here is an inflated mat, which I'll talk you through in a second. But these can always fail, you know, and the tent at the moment, you know, it's pitched on ice, on a frozen ground. And if that deflates, you're literally going to be sleeping on the ice and you're going to be really, really cold. So this really is just a backup. But it also, as you can see, if I come on down, you can see that it's a folding mat. So actually this has been really, really good to use as a seat, sort of whether you just when you're just stopping on the way up and you just want to get your sort of bottom off of the ice, or whether you're just sitting down inside the tent before you blow this up. So really, really good for that, and just offers a bit of extra warmth as well. I mean, some of you might be familiar with R values. Basically, the higher the R value, the more you're going to be insulated from the cold beneath. This mat, I bought it on Amazon, and you'll see the details on the screen. You've probably already seen them. This one has an R value of just over 2.2, which on its own is not great. But yeah, I'll come on to this in a second. Partner with this, you know, no issues at all with the cold, and I didn't feel it at all last night. Yeah, this mat, it was quite an investment, quite a lot of money, but worth every penny in my opinion. This, of course, for those keen campers, you will know that this is the Thermarest X-Therm mat. It has an R value, I believe, of, yeah, just over 6. It's one of the highest you can get of all of the sleeping mats out there on the market, while also being one of the lightest. It's probably not the most comfortable, but I still slept pretty well last night. And yeah, the main thing is it keeps you really, really warm. In fact, actually, I found last night that it almost sort of, I don't know, the heat that your body generates, it almost reflects it back to yourself and back to your sleeping bag, if you can believe that. Really, really good piece of kit. And I've got here a Trekology inflatable pillow, just for a bit of comfort. So yeah, really, really worth it, this. And if you're doing a lot of climbing, the low weight makes it a great option as well. Right, now my sleeping bag. This is in complete contrast to this piece of kit, which was very expensive. This one here is, in terms of winter sleeping bags, it's one of the most budget friendly you can probably find. It comes from Decathlon, and it's the Forclaz MT500. Again, I'll put the details on the screen. You can probably see those. This one has a comfort rating of -5 degrees Celsius. And I can certainly say that, yeah, with 2 snowy camps under my belt, where the temperatures dipped well below freezing, this has kept me plenty warm enough. I've gone for this. This is in size large. You know, for me, I'm just over 6 foot, and there's plenty of space in this. It's got a really, really good hood. If I come on down there. So yeah, with the zips on both sides as well, you can get properly cocooned inside. Really, really, really snug. And yeah, the only thing I'd say against it is that it's quite heavy. You know, in a size large, this is just over 2 kilos. So I know you can spend a lot more money and get one of the sort of down sleeping bags, and they can almost be sort of half the weight. But yeah, if you're on a bit of a budget like I am, and you spend a lot of money on other stuff, this is well worth looking at. And here we go. I've also got a little sleeping bag liner. Probably doesn't add an awful lot more warmth, but every little helps, I suppose. And more than anything as well, it keeps the inside of the sleeping bag, keeps it dry, and yeah, keeps it clean as well. You can actually get fleecy sort of liners, which I'm thinking about maybe getting, just in case maybe you've got a sleeping bag that's not quite as warm as this one. It will offer a bit more warmth, a bit more protection. But I do find that this one, with this sleeping bag, is plenty good enough. So on to clothing. Obviously, a lot of what I brought with me, I'm currently wearing. And yeah, I might do a selfie in a sec so you can see it. But I'm wearing waterproof trousers. I've got thermal socks on, a nice warm jumper, a fleece, and also a down jacket, which keeps me nice and warm. Hat also is extremely important. You know, I'm sure we all know we lose a lot of our heat through our heads. So a nice warm hat's really important, as are gloves. And actually, I normally bring 2 pairs of gloves, just in case one pair gets a bit wet. Then you've got another set as a backup. But yeah, these trousers, they're just a regular pair of sort of lounging trousers, and I use those to sleep in. It's just useful as well if your trousers do get a bit wet, that when you've got your tent up and you're settling, you've got something dry to change into. This one here actually is a thermal sort of underlayer, I suppose. Not actually wearing it at the moment because it's warming up a little bit. It's not that cold. And this is I use this actually when I'm cycling, but it serves me really, really well when I'm also camping. And here we go. We've got my waterproof as well. A really, really important piece of kit any time of the year, but especially in winter. It's the jacket from Rab. Again, not the cheapest piece of kit, but it served me really, really well in Scotland last year. Well, actually last year in February, and many other trips also. This one's a bit of an optional extra. I'm sure, again, many of you hardcore campers will probably just laugh at this, but I brought my slippers up with me. I do think it's important, you know, this time of the year, your feet can get quite cold, and these are fleece lined. So I found both of my snowy camps that these have just added a bit of comfort, and I haven't regretted bringing them up at all. Obviously, for cooking, you want something reliable. You know, this is the same for any time of the year. But in the winter, you know, when you're cold, a warm meal and a warm drink just goes so far in lifting your morale. And if your cooking system fails, you're going to be pretty miserable. So I know there are many cheaper options out there, but the Jetboil, I've had this again since I started camping well over a year ago, and it's never gone wrong. So it's been money well spent. Also, the gas canister here, it does say it's 4 season. I have heard people saying that their gas has actually failed them. And again, you know, if that had happened to me last night, you know, with a dehydrated meal, it would have been pretty miserable, and I wouldn't have enjoyed my warm drink this morning as well. So yeah, make sure that the gas you bring up is suitable in cold weather. We all know, obviously, the winter provides very long, dark nights. So you need to make sure you've got some decent lights with you. And it's, I always bring at least 2 lights, sometimes 3. But as you can see, this one here, it's not a particularly expensive one. It's pretty budget, to be honest, but it's just a head torch. It allows me to still see everything that I'm doing inside my tent, and also set the tent up if it's getting dark while having my hands free. So well worth investing in a head torch. And this light here, even with all of the light with this snow, this is an absolutely, well, you probably can't make it out so well now, but this is my bike light, but it goes up to 200 lumens. And yeah, it's a brilliant piece of kit. And you know what, all the way from here, last night when it actually allowed me to illuminate all those mountains over there. So if you're walking in the dark, if you do get caught out, you want to make sure you know where you're going. So make sure you've got a good, powerful light and a backup in case one of them fails. And yes, I thought I'd finish with these. No, I have not lost the plot. There's a good reason why I've finished with these little treats. And it's because, well, it's just because of that. With winter camping, I think it's really important to look after yourself and treat yourself. You've come out in some pretty harsh weather. Most people will probably think you're mad, but it's important to enjoy the experience. So I do find that, bringing some things like this that you really enjoy are well worth it. And to be honest, with the hike up you've probably done, you've definitely earned it. So, I enjoy some pretzels. They're also not too heavy to carry as well, so they go down well. And I'm not saying you've got to have alcohol with you, but I do find in the cold that a drop of whiskey or wheat dram and maybe even a couple of beers, they always go down very, very well. But don't forget, as cold as it is, you need to make sure you're still drinking plenty of water. I have found a couple of times it's easy to forget that, and you can become quite dehydrated. So, plenty of water, make sure it's carried. So I'm actually recording this bit from the comfort of my warm flat. But as always, I forgot to mention these things when I was actually out there in the snow. So I thought I'd mention them now. A few other bits that are well worth bringing with you are a spare pair of socks. On this trip, actually, I had a lovely pair of thermal socks, but they got damp, as they sometimes do. And once you've got wet feet, you've got cold feet. So some dry ones to change into are really useful. A charger is also really useful for your phone, especially, for example, with my phone, I use it for my GPS. So it's handy to have a charger there, so you've always got a backup. Also, another little tip is to bring a lighter rather than maybe just matches, for example, because matches can get damp in the winter and you need to be able to light your stove. Waterproof gloves, also really important. And also a thin pair of gloves. So, you can actually do practical little things like getting the tent up without your hands freezing as well. So there we go. Hopefully you found that video useful and it's given you some ideas of what to bring with you if you're planning a winter camp, just like the one I've enjoyed. If you have found the video sort of educational in any way, don't forget to like the video and also subscribe, because as I always say, it is not going to be long before the feet get itchy and I'm out there again. But actually, I am counting. 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be up in Scotland mid-February during the teacher's half term. Tell you, I cannot wait. But until then, take care of yourselves. And if you're out there camping, be careful, but enjoy. See you later.